Hey guys, this is Dennis, the founder of Think Hero.
And I'm David Griffin, your resident comic book and video game guru.
And this is our review of the Wolverine.
Yes.
The long-awaited James Mangold directed the Wolverine. Originally it was Aronofsky. I remember when Aronofsky was first
And everybody was like, oh, it's going to be deep.
Aronofsky is one of my favorite directors.
He's like, no, go ahead and go direct the Noah's Ark movie.
So. But James Mangold, he's a director I like. I don't love him, but I like his stuff. He's done Walk the Line, Night and Day, which a lot of people didn't like, but I enjoyed it. He's just done a lot of things.
What he's good in, especially with Walk the Line, he's good at character moments, and I think this is where the Wolverine shined. This is interesting just to kind of, I guess, look on it. Like when I was watching, I'm like, man, this doesn't really feel like an X-Men movie. It almost felt like, to use a comic book term, like a one-shot. Like you go to the store, you go to the comic book store, you get one issue. It's this kind of standalone story. I mean, it is, comes from Frank Miller, loosely based on Frank Miller, Chris Claremont's story back in the day of Wolverine going to Japan, and it's so cool because like this felt like this is gonna be like it felt like a good action movie. Like it wasn't trying, because I think the problem with Marvel, it's not Marvel Studios. We know this is Fox. This is Marvel, but it's Fox, and like after X-Men 3, that whole stuff, I mean, it's just messed up. I mean, their timeline, continuity's gone. I mean, the comic book stuff is gone, basically. So what this did is I think it kind of backed off of that and just said, okay, we're going to tell a nice, simple Wolverine story with him going on an adventure. And that's all it was. And I thought it worked.
And that's why I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I liked it. It was much more focused on the character of Wolverine, of Logan. And I feel like Hugh Jackman was at his best as that character. I think in this movie, you get to see who Wolverine is more so than any of the X-Men movies. Right. Including, I mean, the not so good X-Men Origins Wolverine, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this one was something like, I felt like, oh, okay, that's where he's coming from as a character.
Yeah. He does a great job. He looked great. He's as big as he's ever been. I mean,
he was yoked.
I mean, the thing is, he's huge. And the thing is, he's been doing this for 13 years. Yeah. It's 2013. X-Men was what, 2000, I believe? 2001, give or take? 13 years he's been doing this character, and he still brings it. He still gives it his all when he's doing it. If there's a weakness in the X-Men franchise, it's never been Hugh Jackman's performance or his willingness to work at the role. It's just, I like that they took a step back. This movie wasn't perfect by any means, but it was a solid action movie. I liked that it was set in Japan. I like that most of the main cast was Japanese. I mean, you had Viper and Femke Janssen kept popping up, and then you see that in the previews, and then also Hugh Jackman, of course. But I mean, I liked that it was a mostly Japanese cast. It felt authentic that way, which was great.
Yeah, and also, I mean, of the small criticisms I have of it, it's towards the end, it kind of felt a little more like more generic X-Men type of thing.
Big samurai,
like the ending, and I was a little disappointed that the ninja scene wasn't longer. Like I thought there was going to be more action there, so I was a little disappointed at that.
So I'm sure the movie had a budget, but it didn't feel big budget. I don't want to go too far and say maybe it was Jason Bourne, but it felt small. It felt like a small kind of close, like a lot of intimate scenes, a lot of from the two Japanese leads, the women, they were great. I mean, it felt like a small, intimate movie.
Yeah, I mean, his relationship with Mariko.
Mariko, the young girl, the
Yukio.
Yeah.
So I like those relationships. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if the romantic relationship worked that well, but the kind of, maybe the relationship on the friendship part of it worked a lot better.
Right. I mean, the thing is, with always going to run the difficulty, and I think mainstream America doesn't really care about this, but I know comic book fans and people I'm not a huge X-Men fan, but I know people that are huge X-Men fans in terms of the books, is, everybody wants to see the Dark Phoenix saga, and they think that's kind of ruined. Everybody wants to see, Days of Future Past, we know is coming, and we know that, it's supposed to be, Kitty Pryde supposed to be kind of the head of that story, but we know it's going to be Hugh Jackman. And it's not... I mean, this is the nature of Hollywood. It's like in comic books, you can have Kitty Pryde as the main character. And in movies, you need somebody to sell this $200 million movie. So it's going to be Hugh Jackman. Ladies love him. Like from our moms to younger. I mean, everybody likes Hugh Jackman. So he's going to be. It's
not going to be Ellen Page.
No, Ellen Page is not
as Kitty Pryde.
I like Ellen Page, but she's not going to sell a $100 million movie. So
No, so no, but I like this departure. Right. I think it was a good thing. I liked a lot of the character moments. I liked. Most of the action was pretty good. Maybe, not all of it was the best, but yeah, I also agree with you where it didn't actually feel that big budget.
No, I don't know what the budget was. It didn't feel big. Like if it was like $100 million under, I wouldn't be surprised. It didn't even, maybe even not even 100 million. Maybe it didn't even feel like that. I don't know what it is. I mean, who knows? But it felt small. Like all this, a lot of scenes, like just conversations, like over dinner, like in a a house somewhere. It wasn't. I mean, the biggest set. I mean, I guess you've seen on the previews is that train scene's pretty big, but it's not like Avengers big or Spider-Man big. There's no big like bridge falling down. And what I liked about this is a lot of people have been complaining that all these superhero movies, all these big blockbuster movies, like everybody's destroying the city. The world's under attack. This was small. There was no world in danger. I mean, there was some scientific stuff going on, but the world wasn't in danger, and they weren't destroying Tokyo. Tokyo wasn't destroyed in this movie.
Yeah, and I didn't care for the Viper character, the female. I felt like she was out of place because in this, you kind of had Hugh Jackman, as Logan, Wolverine. Okay, he's like the mutant with the superpowers. You had the girl; she kind of had a little superpowers, but not really. Yeah. I mean, when she fought, it was her normal fighting. But everyone else was normal, and so I didn't like this inclusion of this Viper character in there, where everyone else was pretty. It was pretty normal, It's kind of like the Heroes complex. If you guys ever watched the TV show Heroes, what ended up happening? The first season was pretty good, where you felt like, oh, these are special people, and they live these normal lives. And they have to kind of like hide their powers, or even when they use them, they're special. Yeah. And then later, Heroes was like everybody's everyone's got superpowers. Everyone can do anything. Right. Yeah. And so that's what I liked about this Wolverine movie was that it wasn't that for the most part. I mean,
even the main ninja guy, he was just a good ninja, but he wasn't nothing superpower about him. I mean, and the thing is too with the lady who was, I think her name's Svetlana something. Like I didn't know anything about her going in. I was like, oh, here's this tall, pretty blonde. Let's see what but the thing is, the problem I had with her is I could tell she was forcing an accent. I didn't know who she was, so I looked her up, and she's from Russia, which is fine. I wish we had her use her regular accent because it was noticeable. I kept hearing her trying to force an American accent. I would have been fine with her Russian accent, her native tongue. Like that's fine, but it was a little bit of a distraction. I thought she was kind of weak.
I just didn't really care for her character at all.
Right. Yeah.
But overall, there's actually a lot of good like comedy bits too in the movie. There's some funny parts, and I would say this is a PG-13 movie, but it cuts it really close to R. Yeah, like really close. Right. Like there's swearing. Yeah. There's blood. There's a lot of
they use the one F word that they can use.
Yeah, it takes it right up to what an R-rated movie should be.
Some Wolverine books are. I mean, they don't. The only thing missing is there's no like blood gushing when
there's
a little spray.
I think that's what Aronofsky wanted to do. Aronofsky wanted to take it all the way to an R, but
Marvel's like, no, we need more money. R's less money. Less money. Yeah.
Yeah. So and make sure to stay tuned after. There's a post mid-credit scene that everyone loved. Some people liked it more than the entire movie, so that's just a hint. Right. I liked it a lot. I liked the movie a lot. Besides its flaws. Overall, I'd say I'm gonna give it a B+.
Yeah,
it's one of the better summer movies of this season, and I recommend it. What about you?
I'd agree. I give it a B+. I think as much as I enjoyed Man of Steel, I liked how this movie. What I wanted Man of Steel to do was kind of slow down, and just stop and tell a story. I think that's what the Wolverine did. It slowed down. It wasn't super fast paced. It kind of slowed down and told this kind of intimate story of this superhero, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, there was a lot of character moments that I felt like Man of Steel was missing, because I've heard complaints about Wolverine like, oh, it's boring. It's like, well, only if you want like tons of action or something. If you want
Man of Steel, then I guess yeah.
But this was like the moments between him and Mariko and Yokio and Yoshida.
It makes you really care about the characters at the end of the movie.
There's a whole backstory. It gets a little convoluted at the end, but leading up to it, I liked it. I enjoyed it. So, that's what we thought of the Wolverine. You can post your comments below on the website, thinkhero.com, and on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. It's Think Hero Pro.
You can also come find us on Twitter. I'm at GriffinDE.
And I'm at Think Hero. And you can also check out our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/ThinkHeroFans.